So we're in to have great conversation this morning. I have in the studio Gary Nimakun, and Gary Nimakun is a legal practitioner, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Bola.
All right, and another legal practitioner we have here is Abraham Amaliba. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning.
His constituency is Bolga Central, I have to say. That's it, right?
That's true.
I want him to contest the next primaries. So I have to keep Bolga Central people, please. The delegates, NDC. Try.
And it's my brother.
You don't eye NDC, do you?
Oh no, not now.
Not now.
Not now. Let me focus on what I'm doing.
On your law practice
yes.
and your other businesses.
Exactly.
We'll see how that goes. But I wanted us to take a critical look at. Can I have this paper, the Ghanaian Times? But before now, we know you have a new CJ. She went through a grueling episode process on Friday. But so I first would want to get your comments each. From you, I have to start with Gary on the new CJ we have, Her Lordship Sophia Akufo.
Well, good morning to you, Roland. Good morning
her
to
ladyship, I should say.
Her ladyship. Good morning to you, to your viewers, and to my brother Amaliba. I think it's always refreshing to meet my brother, even though we belong to different sides. We have a good relationship, working together.
Sure.
Now, with the new CJ, who basically I believe today might be confirmed or shall be confirmed by Parliament, I think that she deserves the work, the position that has been given to her. If you look at the long time that she's been in the judiciary, from 1993 up to date, I think she has got a wealth of experience to take up the position of the Chief Justice of the country. And if you look at the way the vetting went, clearly, you can see that she demonstrated that she has the capability, she has the aptitude, she has the know-how, she has the experience to take over the work from her ladyship, the Chief Justice, that is Damitori Dodaru. So I wish her well, and I hope and pray that as she comes and takes over the seat of this high office, things will be, the work will be better done in a way that will lift the judiciary, the image of the judiciary, in a way that the cases that are always more or less being delayed, or people are complaining, those delays could be a bit, dealt with in a manner that will ensure that confidence in the judiciary will still be uplifted. Because don't forget that in any country, your development, a part of which is hinged on the judiciary. Because if people are coming to the country and investors think that they don't have confidence in the judiciary, clearly, nobody will bring any investment to the country. So the judiciary is an integral part to ensure that our development pattern, our development path, will be much more enhanced. So we wish him well, we wish her well, and we hope Parliament will pass her this morning so that she can come and do her work. We don't want any long vacuum. And they indicated they want a long vacuum. Once the vacuum has been created, she should be passed so that she comes and takes over her work and do her work diligently to serve the country. That is my few comments about this matter.
Abraham.
Yeah, let me start.
Her ladyship Sophia Akufo.
Let me start by saying good morning to your viewers and to extend my greetings to Gary Nimakun. The incoming Chief Justice answered the questions to the best of her ability, but I thought that in some areas she was a bit evasive. So, for instance, if you take the answer she gave regarding the Muntie tray, you will notice that she would not answer the question directly because, according to her, she's uncomfortable speaking about cases that she has done. But you see, that seat, when you get to the vetting committee, that seat is not supposed to be comfortable for you. So I expected the chairman of the committee to push her to answer those questions, because what that forum does is to elicit your views on certain issues, and they needed to hear what you have to say on them. I also was not impressed with her answer regarding the issue of whether or not we have archaic laws and that there's a need to review our laws regarding advertising and touting. I didn't like the answer she gave. What she said was that she is a 67-year-old woman and that she thinks that advertising is a no-no, but that ended up saying that you could have your website and put yourself there. Then I said she has shot herself in the foot. Because if you have your website and you put yourself there, it's still advertising, you know? So, but in areas that she felt comfortable, using her own words, because those areas she was evasive, there were areas that she didn't feel comfortable. But in areas that she felt comfortable, she was detailed. I am not looking out for a CJ who will answer all the questions, you know, rightly. I'm looking for a CJ who is, you know, well versed with the area that she is going to occupy, and a CJ who uphold the rule of law. On those two grounds, I thought she did well. But the only minuses are these two areas that
you noticed.
I have some few challenges about my brother saying that
his reservations.
Saying that the reservations. You see, even as lawyers, the ethics do not allow us to more or less run commentary on cases that you are conducting yourself. Even as lawyers.
But we see lawyers do that.
That is why I'm saying that the ethics do not allow us.
So you're saying ideally?
Ideally, you know, that is what the ethics say. You are not allowed to run commentary on cases that you yourself are involved in. You see, the thing is that her ladyship was herself the president of the panel that handled the Muntie 3 case. She herself was the president of the panel. So, it will be, you see, if you are not careful, it might appear as if having given judgment on the matter, all right, the people haven't been punished. Now, you are running a commentary on a matter which you yourself sat as a judge and the president of the panel. So if she says she's not comfortable, you know, discussing that matter, I think it is fair. The reason being that she herself was the president of the panel that delivered the judgment on the Muntie 3.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah, so, you know, I do not think that.
But what's your own view on the subject of supposed advertising? We know that within our jurisdiction, within the regulations that you operate with, within your ethics, the General Legal Counsel, the Bar Association, all recognize that you're not supposed to do touting or advertising, etc. But in the kind of melee of changes in the media landscape and interactivity with your customers, so to speak, or your clients, don't you think we need to take a relook at it?
You see, let's take it this way. I am not one of those people who agree to have been called to the bar. A lawyer must engage himself with the media, maybe for instance, like the way they do Don't Call Me, how you advertise certain products, all right? You see, if you are not careful and we go on that path, it will be a very dangerous thing for the profession.
You mean there will be floodgates open?
Exactly, because see, law is supposed to be very, very conservative.
Please.
It's very, very conservative.
Please.
I'm telling the truth to you. Law is very conservative. Even if you look at the manner of admissions into law school, it tells you how conservative the program is. Why do you have so many programs, so many schools running LLB programs across the country, and yet you have only one law school in Ghana? Though the splinter groups, the splinter, in the bodies that the Ghana School of Law itself, the GIMPA, all right, which is a branch of Legon, and Tech. Why? And you are churning out a little about 400, students every year, leaving about 2,000 students as backlog, because they want to sieve. They want to ensure that certain caliber of persons are brought out as lawyers. So if at the end of the day you are called to the bar, the next thing we hear you on the radio, advertising. So that advertising.
Inadvertently or invariably you are. That's the point.
How?
I'm not talking about. In terms of the phenomenon.
No, You see, let's take it this way. For instance, if we came to sit here and we are wearing our babe, all right, and our gown, me and my brother sitting here, that will be seen to be making
But
an
I
advertisement.
introduce you as lawyers.
It doesn't mean that we are advertising. That is our
Right?
profession.
Somebody watching you would want to get a legal opinion on a subject, would want to get some services of a legal practitioner. And by virtue of the fact that unless you don't want to admit that appearing in the media and perhaps your association with your groupings tend to elevate your status in the way even you get connected to clients, you wouldn't dispute that as advertising.
No,
in a
but
way.
you see, that is the difference here. For instance, my brother Amalaba is a member of the NDC. If I want to say MPP, because now I want to co-opt him into a camp, because
into your party.
I realized that when he's going to run about 8 years in opposition and 20 years,
That's a difficult time.
Obviously, the man will be very hot. So I'm trying to co-opt him into a camp, so we can take care of him for at least the next 8 years, 12 years, or even 16 years.
That will be the
bottom
last
line,
thing that will happen in this
you
country.
see, you see, what we sit here and what we do, we are doing what we call public education. Okay, public
All you're doing is
education.
public education.
Education. You are not advertising. The public need to be educated on certain matters. But where you see, I don't want to where you do certain things to show that directly or indirectly you are advertising your trade. That one you should be careful about. You see, that is my view on this matter. I think that for having a website, even the information you put on a website will even tell you whether you're advertising or not advertising. But the bottom line is that now we are in the 21st century. We moved from the time of 1963 and where we are now. But do we say that we should open the floodgates for every lawyer to now come and sit on the radio or television and make krum, 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 krum? My office name is this, my this and this. I mean, we can't do that. We cannot allow that. So when you do a good job, if the clients come to you and they do a good job, a diligent work, the client themselves, they will refer client matters to you. That's my view.
Okay, let's move on. That subject. You wanted to make a comment?
Yes. You see, if you are a judge and you deliver your judgment, you become functus official.
Meaning what?
You are no longer.
Functus official. Meaning
mean
what?
you are no longer in charge of the case. You have delivered your judgment. You can comment on it. I am not talking about when the matter is in court, and that is where he was going to. These are educative programs, so we need to educate our people. If the matter is in court, I agree with his submission. But when judgment has been delivered, even a judge can hold a seminar on that judgment and educate the public. Now, the next issue about whether or not we should advertise. You asked him. We, sitting here, are inadvertently advertising ourselves.
How?
How many times having people call into radio stations after we have left to ask for the number of that lawyer? Because
They have been calling you?
Yes, they've been calling
Then
me.
I'm not aware.
Go and tell your general legal counsel. They've been calling me. And if you want a mic, Abraham Alves, says that after this program, they call me. Tell them. What nonsense is that? Look, we are inadvertently advertising ourselves.
Not deliberately, but
Not
because
deliberately,
of the platforms
yes.
in which
So for me,
I mean, that's the point I wanted to make.
This media, this technology that has now come, has outlived that law. That law was in '69. In '69, did the framers of that law contemplate social media? When they were passing that law, when they were passing that law,
the polarity of
when they were passing that
media.
law, what he was talking about is what they taught. Where you put your beep and you are in town walking briskly and you wear your gun. That was what they intended. When those who passed that law in '69, that's what they intended. So if there's technology, you buy into it. When she herself was ending up on that matter, what did she say? That you could have your website and put yourself on it. Is that not technology? Is that not advertising? Is that not showing yourself? So I think that, look, probably we may not see it now because she herself has said it that she's 69. Probably if that group go then the current group of lawyers who are minded.
Perhaps you never know. You could be nominated when your party comes to power the next time around.
To allow these things to happen. Because the jurisdictions that we got this thing from, they have allowed these things to happen. Why do we enslave ourselves?
You see that you mean the British system?
The American system,
And the British system.
they have allowed these things to happen.
What do they do now? What
They
speculation?
allow for advertisement.
But we don't allow.
You see, that law, you know what that law does? That law seeks to protect already those who have the, what's the word?
The clout.
Not clout. Those who are already, well, let me just, for the want of right, already famous and known in the legal profession. So those of us coming now,
It crowds you out.
it crowds you out. It protects a few lawyers because they already are known in the system.
Have a reputation.
A reputation. And I think that is unfair. And that's my view on this matter.
But you are known. So
No, I'm not alone. I'm alone. I'm not alone. I'm with some other.
No, I mean you are known. So it protects you. So you should be happy. But let's look at this. Lawyers at the Attorney General's Department have filed a fresh motion asking the Supreme Court to order Alfred Agbasi-Woyome to appear before it on Thursday, June 28, 2017, to be orally examined regarding his indebtedness of 51.2 million Ghana cedis to the state. I'm reading this a long time because I want my panelists to get a gist of what this is all here. But records indicate that he had already paid some 4 million Ghana cedis in 2016 to the Attorney General as part payments. We all know that, however, the ex parte motion filed on Friday, June 2, 2017 is among others seeking to know from the Ghanaian businessman, otherwise referred to as third defendant or judgment debtor, whether there are any debts owing to the third defendant or judgment debtor, whether third defendant has any property for satisfying the judgment of this court dated July 29, 2014, whether third defendant has any means of satisfying the judgment of this court dated July 29, 2014, the manner third defendant used the money paid to him by the Republic. And it says it will be recalled that Mrs. Dorothy Efriyansa, Chief State Attorney, filed a similar suit last year, but later filed discontinuance based on the payment schedule the Aegis Department and the defendant had agreed on. Let me start with you.
There is an application that is long overdue. It is long overdue. You recall, the similar application was filed during the tenure of the NDC era. And Attorney General then, not Attorney General now, went and withdrew the application. Subsequent to that, Mr. Martin Amidu filed a similar application to examine Mr. Woyome as to his means on how he was going to settle for the judgment debt. You see, I have a big difficulty in what happened at that time, and I kept complaining. In fact, when the court even ruled that Martin can do it, the Attorney General then was still out there saying that, look, they have the legal mandate under Article 88 to do so. And therefore, they were challenging the court jurisdiction to have ruled in favor of Martin Amidu. And I said, if, for instance, you live in a family, when property is being dissipated, and nobody wants to protect it, a member of the family can decide, all right, to go to court to protect the property. The man owes the Republic money. He owes us money. And the person take the money for us is Attorney General. And he himself or the office files an application, they go and write the application. Now at least we have an Attorney General that is determined to go and ensure that the money is retrieved for the people of the Republic of Ghana. Don't forget that they have given us a firm commitment that they will ensure that this money is taken. All right? I don't even know why the money has no interest component. Because the money has no interest component. And 51 million then, 51 million now. You know, but that notwithstanding, I think that this application is long overdue. You should go ahead, examine him on oath to find out his means, how he paid the judgment debt. Because you see, I recollect that they attached certain properties and some institution came and said they have interest in it, UT Bank and the rest, which means that some of the properties have already been encumbered. Now, if I owe you money and I don't have anything to satisfy the judgment, then the money will be useless money. It means that it's a money on paper.
So you're saying 51 million judgment that is useless?
I'm not saying that. You're not getting the point. What I'm saying is that if you owe me money, even 1 Ghana cedis, and you have no money or you have no property to attach, it means it's nothing.
To write off.
It means nothing. It simply means that the money that you owe me is on paper. But the money is not realized in physical terms. That's what I'm saying. Now, if Mr. Awoyemi cannot tell us how you pay the judgment debt, we must find out his means, where the money he took, who took the part of the money, the asset he used the money to purchase. All right? As of now, how he is going to ensure that he can satisfy the judgment debt, that is, to me, is most critical. So this application that they filed there is long overdue, and I'm happy that it has been refiled. Not then when the thing was filed and then withdrawn. And then when a citizen now decided to go and pursue the same application, the Attorney General then was fighting the citizen. And I was so shocked.
But let's leave that matter.
I am telling you, I was so shocked then. So now that it has been refiled, I think that it's a very good step, and we hope and pray that this matter will be pursued to its fullest logical consequences.
Mr. Maliba, what's your own observation on this narrative, the current state of how this is going?
I now understand why when you are empaneling for your program, if you bring a lawyer, you must bring another lawyer. Now, if you say that in a family, when the head of family is dissipating the property, the law allows a member of the family to go to court, you are right. But it's because the law allows that. We are ruled by law, not by men. It's the law that allows that to happen. The Attorney General's position is not being given to another person. You get the point? Article 88 is clear on the Attorney General's rule. You can't give it to any other person unless he or she, in this case, decide to delegate.
So when the Attorney General decides not to do it, what happens? Do we hold our hands in despair? When the Attorney General, who is supposed to do it,
have you heard of
decides not to do it? My question to you, answer for our viewers. If the Attorney General, who has the legal mandate to do it, decides not to do it, all right, do we leave our hands in despair and say, well, the AG is not doing it, so we should leave our hands in despair?
I was so quiet. Now, have you ever heard of the term a lacuna in the Constitution or not? Have you heard of that? That the Constitution has not addressed a situation. Have you heard of that or not?
I have.
So that is where your concern should be.
Oh,
that really? The law has not provided for it. There's a need to provide for it. Because if the law does not provide for it, and Attorney General does not act, what do we do? Like you have said, throw our hands in the air. That is a lacuna. What you are talking about is venturing into the realm of law reform. But until then, the law is a law. So you can't take the Attorney General's role and give it to a private citizen. That law is still the law. That a private citizen cannot take the work of the Attorney General. Tell me, which part of the world that the work of the Attorney General has been given to a private person, unless the Attorney General himself.
But Mr. Maliba, let's come back to the reality.
The
thing is that this is being done by a member of the Attorney General's party.
The program is to be educating people.
Yes,
we can't just allow anything to go. So that's why the Attorney General is fighting for his position. That job under the Constitution 88 is my responsibility. Now, having said that,
wait a minute.
Finished.
So let him address this point clearly. He must do it, and he's not doing it. All right.
I just took you through.
Wait. He's not doing it. The law says you must go and do this work, and you are not doing that work. And our money is now hanging in somewhere. We need the money. A citizen says that I will not sit down and allow this thing to go on because it is deliberate. And then when the citizen is fighting that system, you come and say, look, you are taking over my work, so I will not allow you to take over my work. The question is, that work that you must do, are you doing the work? What are you talking about?
Perhaps the private citizen can also prompt.
What are you talking about?
Look,
prompt this.
He says you not to understand what I'm saying. We are ruled by law.
Anyway,
what law gave Martinami the power to do that? Cite the law. Me and you. What is the Constitution?
The Supreme Court ruled. They ruled on that matter.
The Supreme Court ruled on that matter. What law, on what basis did Martin go to court?
The Supreme Court ruled on that matter.
And we are challenging it. That's why we're challenging it.
You are challenging it.
Why? You can't challenge the Supreme Court.
No, why?
You can't challenge the Supreme Court. Then. You are talking about, you brought about this matter.
If you said then.
You brought about the matter.
Okay.
You said then, but
you
now.
brought about the matter.
Right now, this is the state in which it is.
So I want to put him right on his previous going back there.
That's your opinion, not as if putting him right.
The point now is, yes, you can haul Wayomi to court. Wayomi is not entitled to speak. he can decide not to speak. You can't force him, but he will go to court. He will respect the court and go. The arrangement that was put in place that led to the withdrawal of the previous motion was because when that motion was filed under the NDC, Wayomi came up with a payment plan. I'm sure from your narration, they will tell you that
Yes,
Wayomi has made some payments.
He made 4 million Ghana
Now,
cedis.
between you and me, what do you want? Do you want the money to come back to state coffers, or you want Wayomi to go there and be talking? Which one do you want? So the Attorney General at the time felt that if the man having been pricked by the filing of that thing, he has not come up to say he's going to pay, let's allow him to pay. And he came out with a payment plan. So for me, it is not as if the previous administration was not interested in taking the money. Indeed, it was not the MPP that taught the Attorney General then to file that motion. The Attorney General herself, and NDC Attorney General, for that matter, the nation's Attorney General, filed that motion, and then he came up and said, I will pay. Now, between the withdrawal of the motion and now, has he paid some money or not? He has paid. So if this administration also thinks that they want to go and also ask him questions as to how he spent his money, I wish them well. It is part of the legal process. It is allowed in court. It is not irrelevant. But I think that there was another strategy, which strategy got us some money. But if they are also coming out with another strategy, I won't follow them.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Supposing, let's say, we go through all this. The gentleman, the businessman, the financial engineer.
And this, yeah.
Okay. Alfred Agbesi Woyoma says, I want to structure the payment in such a way. And then he exhausts all means of payment. Let's say, i.e., he doesn't have any property or any money somewhere to settle the debt. I mean, practically what happens?
You see?
Of course, he owes us, but what happens?
You see, the problem that we have now is that there's a judgment of the Supreme Court, ex parte PP, which makes it impossible to put somebody in prison for owing you a debt. Now, my difficulty with this matter is that let us not speculate now. Let's all assume.
No, we're not talking on this matter per se. We're talking about general structure of the law and how people can make payment of debts in a situation like this. Not necessarily making the argument in the context of this narrative based on the personae, Agbesi Woyoma, etc.
You see, let's understand something. When you owe money, you owe. And when you owe money, you have to pay.
And if you can't pay?
Well, let's leave that one for now. You see, Amalaba is an interesting man. That he will go to court and will not speak in court, and will come and sit in the courtroom and keep quiet, and will be asked a question by judges and he will not speak. And they can't, you say they can't do anything to him.
I don't think that's in the context in which you're saying it. Was it?
That's
You
what he
cannot
said.
force a person
Well,
to
you
give
see-
evidence in court. You don't know that.
You see, we must understand something. And how circumstances were these monies paid to Mr. Wayomi? They themselves have come to declare that the thing was fraudulent. All right? Now, you let us now go in. Let him come and tell the court that maybe the money that I owe, I will pay the money in this form within this period.
He already has a structure.
Within this time, yeah. But yes, if you have the already the structure and you are going by it, and you are attaching properties, and it's very clear that what you are attaching, third parties are now filing interpleader to say that those properties belong to them. That's a problem, because the understanding I had was that if the property, for instance, this property, this house, I live in it and it's my house. Everyone know this house is my house. But when you attach, people will bring documents and say, hey, this property that you have attached, I have an interest in it because the man has mortgaged it to me and even taking more money from me. all right, as security for the facility. So it simply means that that person has an interest in that property. So you cannot just simply go and sell it. You see, the whole matter is quite murky. I want us to take our time. Let them go to court. Let them examine him on his means as to how you pay the money. But the bottom line is that Ghanaians want their money. And the Attorney General must do whatever is humanly possible under the law to ensure that this money be retrieved for the people of Ghana. That is my view on this one.
Hello, sir.
I don't know.
No, wait. What you must set aside. If, let's say, a typical person, let's say me, an ordinary person, I've been given a judgment for me to go and collect this from the state. I go and now all these processes go through. Now I have only 2 or 3 other means by which I can pay. But I say I can pay, I start paying, but I can't pay. What happens to that, let's say, 2 million Ghana cedi I'm supposed to pay the state, which I've only paid only, let's say, 1 million?
The law is clear. You cannot imprison somebody for his inability to pay.
So that person could be walking free.
You
Once
can
he owes
walk
the
free.
state.
You cannot imprison somebody. Let me give you a full rendition of the statement. You cannot imprison a person for his inability to pay his just debts. Right? You can't imprison somebody for that.
Was it debt, just debt, or fraudulent debt?
What are you talking about? I'm saying that he owes. And if he cannot pay, there are debts to him. He cannot pay, that ends it. Now, he talks about Wayomi being a financier of the NDC. He has financed the NPP as well. Indeed, when Wayomi mother died, MPP and Nana Akufo-Addo donated 350,000 Ghana cedis to the man they said is corrupt. State resources was taken and given to this corrupt person.
Why do you make such conclusions? And who said that? You are reading that by mere media speculation.
What is media? Didn't you see them? Are you not aware?
See, that's the
But
problem.
Wayomi's mother died.
It's the
Are you not aware?
problem I have
MPP
with
went there and donated. Are you not aware? Nana Akufo-Addo
Is it not
himself.
35,000?
Yes, 35,000. Yes, 350.
No, it's 35,000.
Whatever it is. These are the people
5,000 by who?
who say that the man is corrupt. They say the man is corrupt, and they take state resources, money belonging to all of us, and go and donate to
It's
him.
not true. You can't say that in their accounts they didn't have no accrued money. At the end of the
Then
day,
who-
it's still
is that their personal property money?
it still doesn't perhaps preclude him from owing the state, because he indeed owes the state and needs to pay.
And I'm saying that you are regarding that person as a corrupt person who has taken government state resources, and you've taken state
You
resources
see-
to go
you
and
see-
pay
you see,
to
Amalaba.
give to his family, the burial of his mother.
Amalaba.
The point is that stop calling my name. Let me make my point. I've made it.
Amalaba. Roland, you see.
Now-
No, let him make his point. Then
now-
you can come.
With this matter in court, they would ask these questions. Some of the questions we are already aware, the answers to those questions. So, for instance, his properties. It was after the former Attorney General had exhausted all avenues in identifying his properties, and after interpleaders, after they attached some properties, and some people popped up and said, no, we also have an interest in this matter. That was when the application was filed to cross-examine him. Now, when the application was filed to cross-examine him, he then said that, look, there's no need for this to happen. I have some money, and I think I can structure my payment for the debt. And so he entered into an agreement and had that payment plan, and that has resulted into this. But I'm saying that let's allow them to go to court. We are all witnesses, and to see the outcome.
You see, Roland, the impression I get listening to my brother is that it appears that he has absolutely no interest in attempts to retrieve the money to the state.
That's not what he
Is
said.
that,
You see-
what was my
You see,
conclusion?
there's a certain subtle,
Settle what?
a certain subtle.
You're not playing God.
You see, no, wait. You
You
see,
know my mind.
Please, that's all right.
you
Let's
see,
make
yeah,
his
but
point.
you see, I'm making a logical inference from what you are saying, all right, to have a certain, viewpoint. That it appears that you have no interest in the state pursuing Mr. Wayomi to refund the money to the state. That's the impression I get. If I'm wrong, correct me.
It's a fallacy of hasty conclusion. Because
Then-
my
then
conclusion
why
on
then
this
do you-
matter-
why then do you
then
have to
my,
say?
My conclusion in this matter is that they should go to court and we'll see the outcome. That cannot be a person who doesn't want.
Well, if that is your conclusion in the matter, then your conclusion doesn't support your analysis. The way you did it.
My analysis was that the previous administration was doing its bit to collect the money.
Well,
Gary,
once Amaleba, if Amaleba now is now changing, making a U-turn to support us, that he has a firm commitment and he supports Attorney General in her bid to ensure that this money is retrieved to the state, then I commend him for that one. But I think that as Ghanaians, we must all do everything right to ensure that whatever money which was unlawfully paid to anybody will be retrieved to the state.
Okay, on the front page this morning also, the president apparently has been echoing the refrain that he will fight corruption. He said we'll continue to hunt for corrupt officials. And on the front page of the Daily Guide, it says I will fight corruption. And then you go to the Daily Graphic, it says we can't lose fight against corruption. And he's been visiting the UK and meeting a number of personalities from Germany. He went to the UK, etc. Well, the fight against corruption is an onerous one. It's something that your party campaigned on, and now you have the presidency. How well can we do with the fight against corruption?
Well,
within the milieu of the democratic and rule of law dispensation we have.
Well, it is correct that you see, when somebody is engaged in some corruptible tendencies or in some corruption, you cannot just go and pick the person up and lock him in custody unless you go through the process. Now, you recollect that the president, then the candidate, he himself indicated he is not corrupt, and that he will ensure that when he is voted for and becomes the president of the Republic of Ghana, he will fight corruption. Now, in the pursuit to fight corruption, the vision of the president has been very clear that I will appoint somebody who will be a prosecutor, all right, who will do that job for me. Now, we all know that in times past, there has been some thinking or some concerns that when the Attorney General sits in cabinet and is unable to look at his colleague ministers to put them before the court if for some reason they are engaged in something which is untoward. Now, this person, which now Parliament, now they've laid a bill in Parliament to establish that office. That office is going to cede off some powers and articulate it, the same articulate which we're discussing now, to cede off some of the powers to that person who will come, who will not part of government, who will not be part of the cabinet, who is only doing his work as an office. And obviously there will be offices across the country everywhere to ensure that if you are involved in anything.
In 6 months?
No, within 6 months, yes. The office will be set up. Yes, the Parliament, or if they go through the bill process and then they pass it, the President will assent the bill into law. It becomes law. The office will be set up. Okay, that's my general understanding about how it's going to be. And then that office, whoever is there, is not part of government, not part of executive.
It's insulated.
So, exactly.
And then an ombudsman.
Well, maybe to put it that way, maybe something like that, But to put the person
it's
there,
independent.
Obviously, to insulate him from political influence, to ensure that people who are in government and people who are outside government who are engaged in corruption will be taken before the courts, investigated and punished. You see, people have said, and I've heard it from some quarters, that the prosecutor is going to be doing witch hunting. What witch hunting? If for some reason you have not engaged yourself in any corruption, why should you be afraid that somebody will come and invite you for questioning? Why? So basically that is the work of the person, to just ensure, to sanitize the system, so that when you are giving the public purse, public money, all right, you will know that the public money is not for your personal use. You should make it very clear and make it a disincentive, where people would think that when you form part of government, you can take public money, for your personal aggrandizement, enjoy yourself with the money. And when they want to, when your government is about going, you say, if you don't vote for me, all right, when they come, they will come and arrest me and put me in custody. Don't vote for other people. The bottom line is that we must know that the people who are in charge are only custodians of public money. The money doesn't belong to anybody there. It's for the people of Ghana. And therefore, if you are interested in public money, you make sure that there will be a day of accountability. And let's not forget, Roland, political power cannot be with one center forever. Today, MPP. The next day, NDC. My brother sitting here, they are making noise all over to ensure that they come back to power. And even within this short 6 months or 5 months in opposition, they are making noise that they want to come back.
The wahala they are giving you.
They are making noise all over. It tells you that when you come and you don't perform, the people who hold the power, that the citizens of Ghana will say, look, maybe you say you will do this, you couldn't do it, and therefore we want to change and see NDC, which is you know, is very unlikely, highly unlikely. You understand? At this stage, it's highly unlikely. But the bottom line is you must make sure that as you take power, you do what the people of Ghana want. You don't come and see their money. You don't come and see their money. So the public prosecutor who is coming will ensure that both in government and out of government, if you are engaged in corruption, you go there. In any event, to create work for the lawyers. Amaliba will get work to do. Because one day you come and arrest the people, they'll come and see him. So you get what to do, to create work.
That's
so if
scouting and advertising.
You know, sometimes I want to worry my brother small.
No. It's just part of the discussions. But
You know.
really, a public prosecutor would be the best way by which we can independently say that officials or even public servants who, or even private citizens who may have engaged in some inappropriate means of financing or dealing with the state and state agencies, etc., which negatively inures to getting money illegally out of state coffers, will need to be prosecuted.
Exactly.
But by what means would you want the appointment to be so that it is independent enough and not only its tenure?
This statement was made by the president in UK, isn't it?
Yes, please.
I think he should return home. He's gone for so long. He should return home and deal with the matters in Ghana. There are a lot of challenges. He has to come back home.
He has a vice president
He
who
has
is
to come back home.
Enable
We have an
ministers
executive
and a cabinet.
presidency, and nothing happens if the president is not there. Now, you see, I think that if you want to fight corruption, you can fight it irrespective of who is put in place. It's about the political will and commitment to fighting the canker. You don't need a special prosecutor to fight corruption. The Attorney General is there. You have 3 Attorney Generals, two deputies and 1 substantive. Why can't we assign that role to one of them to be dealing with acts of corruption? Why do we want to establish another bureaucracy with cars, with secretaries? And these are people who said they were coming in to protect the public purse. Is that a wise use of public purse? We have other constitutional bodies and statutory bodies. We have IYOKO. Why don't you enhance them? Shraj, why don't you add that aspect to them? I think that the way they are even going about it, who would appoint? And that's your question. If it is still the president who is going to appoint, can the president tell me that with the appointment of a special prosecutor, he will not intervene if tomorrow this special prosecutor finds that Ken Oforiatta, the finance minister, has dipped his hands into national coffers and is going to prosecute him? Between you and me, will this president sit down aloof?
Why not? Why not?
So for me, if he wants to fight corruption, we have one on our hand, Ken Bond issue. Let him deal it.
There's nothing illegal about it as far as we're
Who
concerned.
told you?
But who?
So how do you get to know that there's something illegal about it? He just talked about, and when he was talking about investigating and saying that you cannot just catch people and throw into prison, yeah? I said, so when President Mahama said similar things about Woyomi, you took him to the cleaners. When President Mahama said that, he wished we were in the revolution days, but in a democracy you can't do that.
Is it not because your opponents were questioning the commitment of government, the posture of government towards some of those things?
What is their posture now? He's still not saying
well,
that
the president has just announced. That's a very good posture.
The president then did not announce acts of how to fight corruption. The president then...
The president has even just said that in 6 months or by close of 6 months, we should have an independent prosecutor. That's a very good posture.
It is a weak president who will say that he has to wait for 6 months before fighting corruption.
Please.
Why? You have institutions. You have the Attorney General. You've come into office. You are saying that we should wait 6 months. It's weak leadership.
You see,
Weak leadership.
You see,
No.
You see,
It wasn't that I was dumb.
The choice of language.
It's okay.
It is weak leadership. It is weak leadership that will say we should wait for 6 months
for him to put together a prosecuting team before we fight corruption. Corruption must be fought on daily basis. And I think that if there was will to fight corruption, it should start from day one. Now, what are they doing? He talks about witch hunting. If you call people to Iyoko, past government officials to Iyoko, and what you do is to ask them to tell you how they administered their organizations.
Is that what is happening?
That's what is happening. I'm telling you, I'm a legal man within the NDC. If you call past government, you don't have anything against them. You've not stumbled upon something. You don't call them.
You mean when they call them, it's just an interrogation?
Exactly. You don't put before them, look, during your turn, this is what has happened. Then you now expect that person to answer. You tell me else what your stewardship during your stewardship, what happened. That one, I'll go to the rooftop and say it's witch hunting. If you want to deal with people because they are corrupt, have evidence and confront them with the evidence. But what is currently happening will be witch hunting.
Okay.
And I think that it is wrong for the president to say that we will have to wait for 6 months before we fight corruption. It must be fought on a daily basis. But I can tell him that if he wants the first corrupt act, he should investigate the Ken Bond issue.
You see,
That's
Roland,
a place to start.
Roland, my brother, I think
That's a place to start.
has gone. I think
Why?
has gone a bit overboard.
Why? Because in the Ken issue, we have matters relating to conflict of interest. We have matters
Perceived by the minority.
That is what I'm saying.
And the NDC, you know.
But are we not part of Ghana?
But that's an allegation.
Are we
It's
not
been proven.
So
there's
whatever
nothing,
corrupt act against
you haven't shown the public,
No.
or even the media who have been asking you. You don't have
Roland,
email correspondence, phone records.
Roland,
You don't have
Roland.
means. You just raise an allegation.
Roland.
Yes, please.
in even the one that the special prosecutor will be dealing with, will be allegations. State institutions are there to investigate.
Yes, true.
Set them out.
But with all
Set
due
them.
respect, allegations backed by proper evidence, as far as the public light is concerned, even before we get into the legal realm.
So why is
I
it
think
that
that's the understanding that should impinge.
No. Why is it
when
that
we
why-
make arguments
Why is it that
into these narratives?
Why is it that the U.S. authorities have found the petition credible to even have appointed
Wait,
a case
you
manager
mean you mean
to
worthy
deal-
worthy of
worthy of whatever
Okay.
it is. But they have found that there's merit, and they have instituted a manager to deal with the case. If the U.S. authorities have seen that, what is wrong with our administration?
You see, Roland, I think that my brother has gotten it all wrong. The president has not said that he's waiting for 6 months before constituting or commencing, hearing into corruption cases. He hasn't said that anyway. As we speak, you and I know very well that the police are doing their work, the BNI they are doing their work,
That's
Yoko,
not
they
what
are
he's
doing their
talking
work.
about.
No, on matters of corruption,
No.
we are seeing people being invited. Now, when you say that when you go to Iyoko, then they will say, well, tell us how you are going about your work or how you went about your work during your tenure as you were still worship. And you think that is not the way to go. You don't know the information that they have stumbled upon, which they want you to tell them. You see, you are not an investigator.
Is that how to investigate?
You are not an investigator. No. You see, you are not an investigator. All right? You are a defense counsel. You're not an investigator. You don't know what the person has up in his lips. And for that reason, he's asking you certain questions to lead them to certain areas. So you see, if I'm saying, and I keep on saying, if in your view, you are giving state power to administer a certain section or a ministry or department, agency or government, whatever, and then for that period, you do your work diligently without engaging in anything untoward, and you are called upon to account. The day of accountability obviously will come, and I keep saying it. At the end of your tenure, you have to account to the people of Ghana who gave you the power. And that accountability, when it comes, you don't say it's witch hunting. No, you have to just account on how you use public money. That is all. It's a simple matter. So, Roland, I think that basically the president is on course. The mandate given to him by the people of Ghana will be exercised in a manner that will be fair, that will be reasonable. That in a 4-year term, the people of Ghana will say, look, Mr. President, the way you conducted yourself, we think that you deserve another term of another 4 years.
Why is the president going to run again? Has he told you?
I am even if it's not Nanado, the party will bring a candidate we will continue. I'm not speculating anything. I'm only telling you that the manner with which the work could be done, there will no doubt in my mind that the people of Ghana will now renew the mandate for another 4-year term. You see, the bottom line is that public money is public money. It's not private money. How I spend my personal money cannot be a work
cannot be the business of somebody.
Exactly.
But once it's state money
Exactly.
or public money.
That is the point that we are making. You see, and I keep saying.
How the public official or the public agency spends it is a business of the people.
That is the point. Because it is not your personal money.
I think that's appropriate.
I said Nana Akufo-Addo.
I think Gary Nimako captures it very well.
I said Nana Akufo-Addo is showing weak leadership, and you say choice of words. What words didn't you use?
Why do you say?
What were some of the words that were used against the former president?
To the extent that the
Tell me
second
some of the
lady,
words.
I'm going there, to the extent that the second lady insulted, I won't even repeat it. You know the words he used against President Mahama? When he used the word useless against President Mahama. Is that I'm even more charitable.
Roland, you see,
I'm even more charitable.
Anyway, the campaign is over, so let's look at some of them.
Amaleba, you must understand.
I'm even more charitable.
You must understand one thing, that you see now, whether we like it or not, the mandate of the people of Ghana.
But we'll hold you accountable and we'll criticize where it is, and we'll tell you the truth.
You see, holding accountable is very fair. Nobody is saying don't hold the government accountable. Nobody is saying that.
But you are worried about my choice of words as weak president.
Choice of words.
Weak leadership.
Choice of words.
Weak leadership.
Is
that what
was the foremost word they used for your former president? For the former president?
Now we are using the word incompetent, and they are even crying about it. You heard the Minister of Agric telling a journalist that it is wrong to use the word incompetent. You almost made the word incompetent to be the surname of the former president. You people think that the blood running through you is a special one. But the rest of us, our blood is the ordinary blood. Look, the standards will never lower. We will never lower the standards. The way you held us will hold you accountable in that same manner. So be ready.
Roland, you know, Amaleba this morning, I think that
the standards will be the same.
I think that no, you see, you're my brother, you know. You're my brother, you know. But you see, I think that you know, let's be a bit circumspect.
Were you circumspect?
We go about, you know.
Were you circumspect?
You see, the bottom line is that.
Were you circumspect?
The bottom line is that. You see, it is public service.
Now begging for circumspect.
You see, it is public service. It is not private service. Public service. You understand?
What didn't you do?
Give the man water to drink.
I've been drinking my water.
Because his temperature is high.
I've been drinking my water.
Look,
I've been drinking my water.
You have to relax on the president. I think that the choice of words were not appropriate.
Which is what? Weak leadership.
I will not want to, you see, it's not appropriate. But you see,
weak leadership is not appropriate.
Says that you are right, and that is where I have a difficulty with that. But I will leave it. Let's move on. The bottom line is that the people of Ghana will be served under this administration with humility, and then the president will ensure that whatever money has been given to him to run the country, at the end of the day, it will be accounted for in a manner that the people want. Anybody who has engaged himself in any corruptible tendency or whatever, that person, if the prosecutor comes and then they invite you, don't come and tell them that it's witch hunting. It cannot be witch hunting, because at the end of the day, it's a public money you use, it's not a private money you use, and therefore you have to account for it. It's a simple matter. I don't see the problem. If it's about your private money, it's a different matter altogether. If they say refund the money, you refund the money. It makes life easier for all of us. That's all.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Once the president is saying we can't lose fights against corruption, is the bane of our development. We know that it's something that we must also focus on. But let's look at the subject on the front page of the papers. It's talking about police arresting another suspected killer of cop. But we've had a number of attacks on the police officials, and sometimes the manner in which it's been conducted has not been the best. Is it because we're losing it as a nation as far as security is concerned?
Oh, how? Well, you have not given the details of the story. So
okay. It's because,
for
example, because, a police was gunned down somewhere in Tema by perceived armed robbers or people who had been trailing him, for example. And we've had gunning down of a policeman somewhere in the north also taking place, and a number of attacks on security agency. Yeah, but the north one, the policeman, we are told, was gunned down by his own peers, because they mistook him to be an armed robber.
Exactly. You see,
So we shouldn't say that there's a state of insecurity
I
in
mean,
Ghana.
to be far-fetched to
It
to
is
allude-
far-fetched?
It's far-fetched. Anybody who is making statement that it's
There's no tension.
where's the tension in Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana.
No. I don't see the tension. Is there any tension? I don't see the tension. I mean, I heard people making certain statements and that there is insecurity in the country and that.
Is there not? When policemen are being gunned down?
You see, Roland, when you say there is insecurity, you must tell us or you must lead a certain basis to make that conclusion.
Well, there have been string of events that leads many to that conclusion.
Nobody supports even the death of a single person. Nobody. I mean, one human life is very precious. Nobody will sit here and support that human life to be taken away and then will support it. Nobody. But I'm saying that when you say there's a state of insecurity, a state of insecurity presupposes a certain idea that the whole nation is on edge. You see, that is the way I understand it, unless I'm wrong. Anyway.
Are you saying that those in the security agency, they are not on edge? Because they're supposed to be providing security for us.
No, you see, no, Roland, you are mixing up the things. When you say a
It's
state,
evasive, that's all.
when you say
should
you are in
know
a
what
state
it is.
of insecurity, a
It's
state
really
of
evasive.
insecurity, it presupposes an idea or a situation that the whole nation is on edge. All right? That's
Are you
something.
free to drive your car at
Why
2
am I
a.m.?
not free to drive my car around? Why?
2
I
a.m.
went to Kumasi and I just came back. I went to Kumasi and I came
Can you
back.
travel 2 a.m.?
I drove in the night and I came back. I came back this morning. I'm here on your program. You understand? You see, we should not paint a certain picture because you see, saying that there's a state of insecurity, and this media house is a very big media house. You are being viewed worldwide, and then somebody sitting somewhere will
So
say,
you're saying I'm being prejudiced?
no, there's somebody. You see, you are painting a certain picture. Somebody who lives out of the jurisdiction might think that people in Ghana are saying you're in a state of insecurity.
That we're in a state of chaos.
It's a very serious matter, and it can even drive investors away.
I get your point.
You see, but one about isolated incidents, which we are all condemning, we cannot say that amounts to a state of insecurity. That is the point I'm making. You see, these are matters 1, 2,
Gary,
3.
let me ask you this.
Yes, go ahead.
We all have police patrols and checkpoints in our communities. I don't know where you live though, but at the end of the day, I live in Ajekoji, it's close to Ashama and Lashibi, so I get security. And if they meet you, they become a lot more attention-seeking than usual. And psychologically, it doesn't make me feel good.
You mean the police?
Well, police, military, patrols, and you find that
Well, I think
it doesn't give a semblance of perhaps they're on edge. I mean,
see-
I should say, let me just tone down the words, perhaps the phrases.
Yes,
I'm using.
I think we should all encourage ourselves to be law-abiding in this country. You see, if you get up in the morning and you can't go to work and come back in peace, obviously you can't be comfortable.
That doesn't give you a sense of some level of insecurity. If you have to go to work and you don't know whether you're going to come back,
That is what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
As a
But you
thriving
see-
young legal
but-
lawyer.
Yeah, you see, the bottom line is that all of us, we must be each other's keeper. If you know in the UK and other places now, you see that what is happening there, and we have been monitoring them, on the international tabloids, and clearly you can see that the whole prime minister has realized that there's a problem happening. Even this morning, there was an attack. Somebody running a truck into human beings. Then you saw people going into downtown, and then they went and you started stabbing people. These are major matters. You see, that not to say that what we have here, we will say that, we also like it. No. Anything about not ensuring that people can go about their duties in a peaceful manner, nobody can applaud it at all.
Gary.
No, that's not Gary.
I said Gary. Abraham.
Yes. You see, if you have an attack of a court, he's a lawyer. You can't sit here and say that there's no insecurity. If you have a whole judge vacating his post and saying that he doesn't feel secured because his life is in danger, you can't sit here and say there's peace. If in the Flagstaff house, a whole police commissioner or whatever, ASP or whatever it is, can be beaten up right in front of the office of the president, you can't sit here and say there's no insecurity. Indeed, there have been policemen gunned down. We saw what happened with the Major Muhammad. That's part of insecurity.
For the first time in this country, we've had the UN call our president to tell him to bring sanity, to bring back, to ensure that there's peace in the country. In the past, it used to be the embassies that will alert its citizens. And I'm even told that one of the reasons why the boxer refused to come to Ghana was because the U.S. embassy had alerted him
Which
that
had been refuted by the U.S. embassy. See
the
propaganda they were going about.
Now,
some
the
George,
point-
some
the-
George
the
when they
point
made that
is that
statement, the U.S.
the-
embassy has refuted that.
Can he learn what the way
that allegation
I
is
conduct
wrong.
myself when he's talking?
They said learn how he
It's
conducts
not
himself.
everything
be
that you
interjecting.
say that I am happy about. Sometimes I feel angry, but I have to restrain myself. Learn.
You are becoming tolerant,
Now,
or you are tolerant.
the point is that there's a need for the president to take charge of the situation and address the nation on the pockets of violence that we have.
Please.
You see, people like you,
Abraham Maleba.
no, people like you will talk this way. Boko Haram in Nigeria did not start the way it started. It started on a small note.
Abraham,
And I'm saying that with the kinds of violence,
let me ask you, do you think
that we
there's a
are seeing.
state of insecurity in Ghana?
there is. That's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that. I've given you examples, or you don't want to hear. A judge had to run away from his workplace.
You are believing the point.
What's believing? A court was attacked.
Abraham Amaleba is
Right?
a legal practitioner.
Police was beaten up in the
I thank
Flagstaff
for joining
House.
me, Abraham.
Police was
Gary
beaten at the
Nimafu
Flagstaff
is
House.
also a legal practitioner. Thank you for joining me, Gary.
Policeman was killed.
Next, Mamavio Usabwaji is talking about World
understand?
Sickle
But if
Cell
you
Day
want-
today.
if you want, you can
was
join them.
established by the United Nations General Assembly
Join them
in
and refusing what I'm
2008
saying.
in order to increase
When the
awareness
thing comes,
about
you-
sickle cell disease and its cure among the general public. And so we have great discussions this morning with our guests in the studio. We're going to have medical practitioners who will be in the studio to talk to us about efforts we're making. Dr. Ama Bene of the Department of Hematology, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and Dr. Sefa Ko Enam Bankas, founder, Sickle Life. She's also a person living with sickle cell disease, but we'll be having Maxwell Agbagba in a community near you and be speaking to many of us, whether we know or have knowledge about sickle cell and those living with the disease in our communities, how we tend to cope with them. So all that discussion up next. Do stay on.